Good day, followers, and welcome to today's episode of Daily Prescription, where we have a special lineup for you today. As you all know, Sunday is Mother's Day. So there are a few of us from our page, from our ministry, and we are here to share some fond memories of our mother. So I'm going to invite my friends, I'll call them by name, and they will share with you some fond memories about their mother. So the first person sharing with us today is Helen. So Helen, what would you like to say about your mom?
What would I like to say about my mom? So many great things about my mom. My mom is the best mom in the whole wide world. I count it a great blessing to have my mom alive. She's 80 plus, and sometimes I feel I'm 80 plus and she's my age. So it's such a blessing to have my mom alive. We are best friends. She's my hero. I love her company. She's very humorous. So I think I get my humorous side from my mom. And some treasured memories I hold very close to my heart. And the first one, my mom will always make sure that I'm properly fed. Even as an adult, she always ensured that there is something in my lunch bag to eat. Even if it's bread, biscuits, I should not leave that house without any food. And as you all can see, I'm properly fed. Another treasured memory about my mom, I remember my school days. Well, my mom never had problems with me. I'm always a good child. And I'm still is. That is why I'm still under her roof. I remember every Sunday morning, my mom used to cut my hair and give me those hair bands. But having a little forehead, we will call it donkey made. So when mommy cutting my hair, I will tilt to the side. So can't you imagine the haircut I got? But when I went to school, my friends, they were joking and they asked me, who is my hairdresser? I said, my mom. Well, she got a compliment that day. And even as an adult, Rev, when I leave home, my mom will always make sure she will hug me and she will kiss me as an adult. She's not ashamed. Whoever there standing, she will say, you didn't give them a kiss, you didn't give them a hug. And she will look at my vehicle until she can't see it anymore. And she will pray for me until I get home. And she will always greet me, babe, how was your day? So I'll always have to share something positive with her. And she will stand up and wait for an answer. But if food on work, we'll say, mommy, I had somebody food on work. So my mom, is the best. She makes sure, she will always pray with me. Two things she hates about me. She don't like when I'm feeling sick or I'm out of her sight. She will say, babes, you're coming back now. And, she really enjoyed time with me. And I enjoy, spending time with my mom and just speaking and just talking. And, while, sometimes shopping, I will hold her hand. And, she will say, what people will say, well, you holding my hand. They don't know it's the other way around, which is so true. So my mom is the best mom in the whole wide world. I will not trade her for anything or anyone in this world. I love you, mommy.
Amen. Thank you, Helen. And now we have Nigel. He's going to share some fun memories and some thoughts about his mom. Welcome, Nigel.
Yes, well, my mom is not alive. She died at a young age because I have to say young because I am actually past her age when she died. But one thing that comes to mind about my mother is that she used to sacrifice. She grew up with about 9 or 10 siblings, and she was the second. And she used to cook and really kind of take care of her siblings. So she used to sacrifice a lot at her home, and even when she had her family, she used to sacrifice a lot home also. We grew up in a broken home, but she made sure that even though we were separated at that time, she always made sure that her 2 children, which were my brother and I, were well taken care of, and she was always around for us. So, like I said, one thing I think about when I remember my mom is that she made her sacrifice to make sure her children were well taken care of, and that they were well fed, as Helen said, and they were, and well, she helped me to be a better man, because I was able. She taught me to drive, because we had an escort, and she used to which was manual, and she taught me to drive, and I used to drive to school halfway and drive in the back of Marabella, down by the school in the back there. So she taught me to drive when I was young, and I got my license. And also she taught me to cook. So I could have cooked Malay rice and not dal, rice and red bean and Malay stew chicken and things like that. So nobody could bust no style. My mother made sure I could see about myself. So, and well, things like they say that long ago parents didn't used to um say their feelings. They used to show, and nowadays you hear more parents and mothers telling their children they love them, they love them. So my mom used to more show her love than say she loves me as much as before. But only when I was getting married, I saw a little, telling my wife, take care of him, take care of him, you leave in the house now. So, that, it manifested itself that, how much she really loved me and so on, you know. So those are some memories. Well, that was some good memories. Some other memories I wouldn't say bad is when I used to get licks. I remember some memories of her when she was beating me. Every word was a lash. So when she said, I tired tell you not to do that, every word was a lash. And of course, as Reverend Chan said, he whom the Lord loved, he chastened. So she chased me and she beat me. So she really loved me. So those are some fun memories. And, I wish she was here. I really wish her, because she saw my first son, but she never saw her, my first son, but she never saw her second grandchild. So, and now they're getting bigger, you wish that they were around to be able, she was around to be able to see them growing up and becoming the men and the children that they are now. So I miss her, but thank God for my mother-in-law who is alive, and I know my mother-in-law would give her gold teeth, and it's true, she have a gold teeth, but she would give her gold teeth for her grandchildren.
I noticed
So,
that.
yeah.
Okay.
So I really see the kind of love that people, God puts when you are missing. God puts people in your life, and I have a mother-in-law like that, and I have spiritual mothers in church who are there for me.
Amen.
So thank God for
Amen.
mothers.
Amen. Thank you, Nigel. Dana?
Well, I'll try to keep it short. So I'll share 3 memories, right? Thankfully, my mother is still alive and well. I'm still under her roof. Growing up, one of my fondest moments with her was that, she's always come and carry me to the mall on a Saturday, take me halfway through my maths class, we'll go movies, we'll always go to rituals and have a chocolate malt. And I was so pretty. I still want the whole thing and not to share with my sister. So we would take 2 separate ones and trying to hustle to drink it, because long time they have these rules in these stores. You can't go in without drink. And trying to hustle the drink by the door now again, this brain freeze. Like, what's going on? Like, people watching, like, what's going on with them children? The mother not, like, watching like kind of odd and weird. But it was really a nice time spending that time with her. And I grew up really close with her as a best friend, talking to her about everything. I would tell her what's going on with work, what's going on in school. And she would always listen, give good advice. Even when I started to work, every time I would call to check up to make sure they're good home, I'm like, yeah, mommy, you wake up. You're a chef. Why you want to know what I cook for? It's not like you're coming home to eat, because I'm working all these long hours that they should barely see me home. And even now, if I spend time out, if I go by my girlfriend probably for a weekend, or spending time out, if we go to big or if we go anywhere with our siblings, she would always have to hear from us. We always have to call and check in. I think that's like a motherly thing, yes, but she have to hear from you. You're rich, you're okay, you're good. Even big as I am now in my 30s, I have to let her know when I'm in work. Call her and let her know if I'm working late, if she's not seeing me before she go to sleep. So, through the seasons, the good and the bad times, I would have to say celebrating every year Mother's Day with my mother is truly a blessing for me.
Rita?
Hi, everyone.
Good
Well, happy
evening.
Mother's Day to all.
Yeah.
I came from a very large family of 14 children. Sorry about that. Of 14 children. Financially, things were tough. As I expected, 14 children and my father working for bare minimum wage. Yet my mom welcomed and accommodated a lot of our relatives and friends still live with us, and even some of them went to school from our home. One of the memories I had was my mom eating out of the pot that we used to cook from. She will serve everybody else, and then I will see her. We will see as children will see her put the rice or the roti in the pot and eating from there. And we thought that was the best meal. Her meal was tasting better than ours. So we used to rush over and beg for some of what she was having. You know, it's only recently I realized that there wasn't sufficient for her to eat. So she will use the remnants in the pot for her meal. You know, one of the things I have to say is I really admire my mom's generosity, because she could have said no to the relatives and made a better accommodation for herself, right? I admire her generosity. I admire her humility. She was a very humble person, and she was always a sacrificial giver, doing without many things that I'm now beginning to realize, giving her all to others and settling for less. So happy Mother's Day to all, and thank you for your sacrificial giving. Amen.
Thank you, Rita. Jerome?
Well, I want to thank God for loving mothers in my life. And I say mothers because I have a biological, a moral, a spiritual, and a mother-in-law.
We have
So
plenty mothers, boy.
I am very, very fortunate. My mother was a very loving person, very small in nature. If you would know my daughter, you could picture my mother. But she was very loving and caring. You could have done mommy anything, and she heard anything happen to you, and she right there with you. I don't believe that she ever had an enemy. You could have been an enemy to her, but literally, mommy was loving. She was caring. She loved to cook. She loved to bake. She had a little parlor. I'm gonna say we used to have real fun growing up home, because things was difficult, real tough having 14 children. I mean to say you could imagine in those days, but she made things so easy. Children, home was a place to where all nieces and nephews from outside and cousins and all about when vacation time come around. I mean to say I used to wonder, how everybody used to sleep in the house. You understand? There was 4 bedroom in the house, but to me, not enough bed, but everybody find a place to sleep. Mommy always was loving and caring. My moral mother, she taught me how to cook, to take care of our home. But I had a nice thing with her in the context of we used to mind animal, and I used to go in the morning, see about the goat and them, and sometime in the evening time, I used to stay and play football. What I used to do whenever I doing that, I used to cut grass and leave them in the pen. And somebody told her what was happening, and she went up in the garden a day and she moved one of the goat. But strange enough, that evening I went in the garden, I changed the goat, and when I looked from one of the goat was missing. But when I look across, I saw her in the peas field, and I called out to her, and I went across and checked her. When I go on, she said, "See all the goat?" I said, "No, one missing." She said on the other side. Strange enough, that goat hung himself that evening. And
Oh.
that was really, really hurtful for me. But really, it was joy in laboring. Also, when I look at my life spiritually, where I am today, Reverend Shan, I want to thank you very much for being my spiritual mother, for being there for me in good times and bad times and difficult times. And all these things, by example in life that you live, helped me, to be where I am today. So I want to tell you thank you. And also when I look at my mother-in-law, strange enough, I I had great laughter. I was telling my wife just a few days ago about that. And I was telling her, she called me a day and tell me, was Michael alone living there? And that was an invitation she was
Yeah.
sending out. And she didn't, I'm just saying she's a real wonderful lady. And I pray God to continue to strengthen her and to keep her. And really, you know, when I look at these mothers in my life, you know, all of them play a very important part in my life to help me to be loving, to be caring, to be there for people, to be there for one another. So, you know, God bless them and keep them.
Thank
Amen.
you very much, Jerome. Floyd, what would you like to tell us about your mom? You are muted, Floyd. You're muted, unmute.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Happy Mother's Day. I have some
Mothers.
fun, good memories about my mother. One of them is that she never left us hungry, and she never used to waste. Okay, so that one time when we had a breadfruit and it ripe, normally if a breadfruit ripe, you can't find anything to do with it. You throw it away. She took that breadfruit and she beat it and made a cake. All right, nice tasting cake. Okay, I remember that, and later in life, about 20 years ago, I made a breadfruit cake. All right, remembering that one. Also, too, she was a seamstress. She was a seamstress, so that is how I learned to cook. Imagine she's a seamstress, but I learned to cook, right? Because she has to do people work.
Yeah.
All right. So she was unable to cook that day. And she's sewing and directing me how to make the pilau. Okay. But I put a little pepper and a little pepper and a little pepper. So it was a hot pilau, right? Right? And then she being the seamstress that she was, my daughter is her last grandchild. All right. And when my daughter entered kindergarten, she decided she wasn't sewing again, plenty, but she decided she must make her uniform for preschool. All right. And then when she started primary school, she made 2 skirts for her. And when I tell you, the pleat in those skirts was sitting better than the ready-made skirt you're buying for the school. Right? It was good like that. And well, she died just July last year. But I really lost her about 20 years ago. All right, because soon as I got married, I lost her to my wife first, and then as the children and them come, that was it. So if I call her, how is Michelle? How is David? How is Destiny? And then we start to talk. So, but she loved her grandchildren. She loved me. She loved my wife, and we were together even on the same day. Just the evening before she died. And she was a lovely mother.
So thank you so much for sharing all these wonderful memories about your mothers. And as I listen to you all speak, you know, we can share so many things about our mothers, their sacrifices, making sure you get food, giving you kisses, all the other things. But two things. Well, my mom died at 95 and she passed in 2018. And the good thing about that is that I am so glad that she came to know the Lord before she died. But there are things when we would go through situations in life at home. I had 5 siblings. So whatever situations we go through, she always had a saying to apply to the situation. Granted, some of these sayings are what we say old people sayings, but nevertheless, I'd like to share some of these sayings with you. For example, she will say things like, you can't eat, you can't, not can't, can't, right? Trinidadians say can't. You can't eat your cake and have it too, right? See me, come live with me, it's two different things. Friends take you, but they don't bring you back. And something she liked to say, but I am the age, so I could say whatever I want to say. And then she had a saying about the kobo, right? She said the kobo, when rain fall, and he will say things like, I got better house, I got better house, I got better house. And when rain stopped falling, he forget all about the house. So those are some sayings, you know, friends will take you. If you show me your friends and I'll show you who you are, things like that she would say to us when we go through situations in life, when she would look at us and see some of the things we were doing. And another fun memory is when we were in school, we had tables to learn. She would line up all of us and make sure we know the 2-time table and the 3-time table, take you up in your reading, all those things she did with us as a mother. And so we cannot share all the fun memories of our mom. So we are so happy. Happy Mother's Day to all of you all who are listening. You took time to come on our page today. A special happy Mother's Day to the mother of our Church Faith Center San Fernando, which is Reverend Marilyn Shankersing. We call her the First Lady of the church. Happy Mother's Day, Reverend Marilyn Shankersing, from all of us. So thank you so much for being on our page today. And I pray what we have shared is a real blessing to you. And again, happy Mother's Day to all our moms. God bless you richly.